Blessings and peace to you. This is Sbfavor Thinking Podcast, and my name is Sbfavor. How are you doing today? It is Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. Another wonderful day and another day to be thankful. And as I always say, if you focus on what is good, then you can project something good to happen when you focus on what is good, because there are no benefits to focusing on all the negative things. There are no benefits in that. No, there are no benefits. So focus on the positive things. If you are out there traveling about today, make sure you are keeping yourself safe and keeping your family members safe. It never hurts to pray. So make sure you pray, because there is power in prayer. So make sure you pray. If you would like to give to the podcast, you can give at Cash App $Sbfavor, or you can give at Venmo at Sbfavor. Once again, if you would like to give to the podcast, you can give at Cash App $Sbfavor, or you can give at Venmo at Sbfavor. I also want to remind you to give to Feeding America. Feeding America is an organization that provides food for families across the nation, and it's a very good charity. So make sure you give to Feeding America. You can find all the information about the charity at feedingamerica.org. Once again, give to Feeding America. Feeding America is a great organization that provides food for families across the nation. So please give to Feeding America. And if you are abroad, overseas, make sure you can still go to Google and check out feedingamerica.org and find out what you can do to help the organization. Thank you so much for your support and your donations. Well, today's episode is about staying focused on hope and not despair. Well, I decided to talk about this because we are living in a time of a lot of things going on, and it's a new year. This is the first month of the new year, and so far a lot has taken place, and we have to stay focused. Every day we live, we have to stay focused, because when we stay focused, then we can be more intentional. Yes, when we stay focused, because if you are walking around distracted and you're just wandering to and fro and just doing things just to be doing it, think about that. Is that purposeful to just do things just to be doing it? So we have to be focused, and as we stay focused on hope and not despair, we will be more focused to explore strategies for cultivating hope, and we will stay focused in the midst of adversity, and we will know what to do and what not to do, and also we can overcome challenges. So that's why it's so important to stay focused on hope and not despair. Well, at the beginning of this year in the United States, unfortunately, we have a new president, and there's a lot going on. And we must remember that for those of us that are believers, we must remember that God is sovereign. We must remember that God is still in control. No matter who is in office, no matter what is going on, God is in control. And He is the source of all of our hope. Because without Him, then what do we really have? Without God, what do we really have? Just think about that for a second, because with Him, we have hope. With God, we have all things, and with God, we can overcome all things. So we have to stay focused on everything that gives us hope. And I know it's easier said than done, because many of us are sitting around thinking about things we shouldn't be thinking about. But you can focus on what is important. And you must take control from the moment you wake up until you go to bed at night. You must take control to have a good day. You must take control to keep your focus on everything that gives you hope. Because if you are focused on problems and if you are focused on the things that are not solutions, ask yourself the question, why should you focus on all those negative things? Why should you focus on things that will just bring your energy and your spirit down? You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You want to focus on what's good. You want to focus on solutions. You want to project the good to happen. Mm-hmm. That's what you want to do. You don't want to sit around focusing on the bad things that could happen. You don't want to do that. We also must stay in a position of cultivating gratitude, because when we practice gratitude daily by acknowledging the good things in our life, it gives us more peace. It gives us more joy. It gives us more contentment when we cultivate gratitude. Because if you look at your life and you think about all the positive things and you think about where you are in terms of just your health or anything that's positive, that will help you to cultivate gratitude, because cultivating gratitude will help you to stay lifted. Yes, it will help you to stay lifted. As I stated, you don't want to focus on the negative things. You want to focus on everything that will lift your spirit, because when you focus on what is good, as I always say, you can project something good to happen. That's right, when you focus on what is good. Focus on the things that give you strength. Identify and utilize your strengths and talents to focus on the things that give you hope. That's right. You don't want to focus on the things that will increase or make you think of what is despair. You don't want that. You don't want to focus on despair. You want to keep your mind focused on hope. We have to do this because many of us, unfortunately, are stressed out and many of us are not focused. And so I hope that what I am saying to you will help you to be reminded of what you have to do every single day. Yes, because every day we live, we have to take control. We have to take control of the day. We have to take control of the attitude we need to have. We have to take control of the thoughts we need to think. And we definitely need to take control of the actions that we take and act out. All right. Um, so focus on what is good and make sure you focus on your strengths to stay in a mindset of hope. Practice self compassion. Mm-hmm. That's right. You must always treat yourself kind and make sure you seek understanding for all things you don't understand. And if you don't have the answer right away, just pray about it. But treat yourself with kindness and make sure you seek understanding. Why am I saying seek understanding? Because you don't want to have a mindset of confusion. A mindset of confusion is a mindset that is on a path of despair. You don't want that, because we are going to focus on hope and not despair. Make sure you also connect with others. Connect with others to make sure that you are socializing in a healthy way. Yes. When we socialize with others to increase our joy, or when we socialize with others like family members to engage in the love that we need to receive, or when we socialize with others just to be lifted or inspired, then we do well. Then we do well. So make sure you connect with others to build strong relationships and seek support from those good friends and loved ones. Because when we connect with one another, we open up the door to receive something, because in every relationship there's a an exchange, right? So make sure you connect with others. It's important to connect with others. Sometimes most people say, or not most people, but some people say, uh, I like to be alone. There's nothing wrong with being alone. There's nothing wrong with being solo. But all things must be done with the balance, right? So, yeah, make sure you connect with others. You can't do everything by yourself. You were created to connect with others. So make sure you connect with others, because we're talking about staying focused on hope and not despair. That's what we're talking about, right? Well, that's what I'm talking about to you. And make sure you engage in meaningful activities as you connect with others, because as you engage in meaningful activities such as hobbies, volunteer work, or anything that brings you joy or purpose, that's another way to keep your mind focused on hope and not despair. I got to keep saying that because unfortunately, when we watch the news, when we hear bad news, sometimes our mind goes into a place it shouldn't go into. So we have to take control of each moment to keep our minds in the place it needs to be. And that is a place of hope. That is a place of peace. We must keep our minds in a place of the things that bring us peace, because we want to focus on hope and not despair. Every time I turned on the news last week, I kept seeing bad news about this person doing this and this person doing that, and an executive order for this and executive order for that. And I said to myself, God is still in control. God is still in control. No matter what happens, God is in control. And I told myself, I will not sit and worry and think about a bunch of negative things to bring my spirit down. And I began to pray for people and family members, because I know that unfortunately, in the midst of negative news, some people automatically just worry. But we don't have to. We don't have to. That's why I said we have to take control of the moment to think about what we need to think about, do what we need to do, and just take control of the moment. Be mindful of all that God has for you, because God is still in control. Make sure you seek professional help also. If you feel like you need to get professional help because of stress, or if you feel like you are in a place of despair, and if you feel like you can't do it on your own to stay up daily, make sure you get professional help. There's nothing wrong with getting uh, counseling or seeing a therapist if you are struggling. I have to remind you of that, because some people, they feel a certain way about seeing a therapist. They think that, oh, I'm weak if I see a therapist, or I'm weak if I seek counseling. No, you're not weak. That means you are caring for yourself. So make sure you seek professional help, and don't hesitate to do that if you feel like you are in a place of despair. Also, make sure you engage in physical activity as much as you can, because exercise can boost your mood and reduce stress. Yes, exercise can boost your mood and reduce stress, because we have to take care of ourselves. We have to do everything we know to do, because we want to stay in a place of hope and not despair. When you hear bad news, if you hear something going on the news, make sure you just do your part. Do your part to stay focused. Do your part to stay focused every day, every single day. Do your part to stay focused. Don't isolate yourself or withdraw, because when you do that, then that can cause another problem. You don't want to isolate yourself too much. It's okay to have that downtime for yourself, to spend time with others, and then have some downtime for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't avoid social activity altogether, because we have to maintain a connection with others. And like I said, when we maintain a connection with others, we get to exchange something good. Make make sure your exchanges are edifying as well. If you come in contact with someone, and if the exchange is not edifying, then that means you need to dismiss yourself. If the exchange is not edifying, then that means you need to dismiss yourself. Don't wait till something happens and then you decide to dismiss yourself. No, when you see the red flags in the midst of a connection with others, make sure you dismiss yourself. That's right. Don't ignore the red flags. Make sure you dismiss yourself, because you want to maintain healthy, solid relationships. That's what you want. You want to maintain healthy, solid relationships. So don't isolate yourself. Don't also dwell on negativity. Mhm. Don't dwell on negativity. Don't dwell on what happened last week, last month, last year. It's not going to help you. If you think about those things, you only want to think about those things in reference to something being a lesson, but you don't want to dwell on negativity if it's not going to be helpful to you. Because if you are dwelling on something negative and you are just rehearsing the negative thoughts and experiences in your mind, that means you are focused on something negative, which can bring about despair. That's right. If you are dwelling on negativity, that can bring about despair. Because once you start to think negative, then what happens after that is your spirit starts to go down, 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 down. And you don't want to do that. You want to dwell on what is positive, what is good, so that you don't dwell on what is negative. That's right. Don't avoid seeking help when you need help. If you need to pray with friends or family members, or if you need to just speak with someone about what you may feel, don't avoid seeking help. Make sure you do all you know to do to keep your spirit up. That's right. You want to do all that you know to do to keep your spirit up. Each day we live, we have to make a decision to keep our spirits up. And what do I mean by keeping our spirits up? We have to stay inspired. We have to prioritize what is good for us. We have to focus on self care. And we have to make sure that we have the right focus. You want to have the right focus, because once again, I am talking about focusing on hope and not despair. When you have a problem, make sure you continually, constantly focus on the solutions and not the problem. If you can't fix a problem right away, you can still focus on the solution until you can fix it. You want to pray. For those of us that are believers, you want to pray. And if you're not a believer, you need to understand the power of prayer. So when you have a problem, you want to focus on the solution. Because when you focus on solutions and not the problems, it will keep your spirit lifted. You don't want to bask in the problem by thinking about woulda, coulda, shoulda, or just the details of the problem. You don't want to do that. You want to focus on the solutions. You want to constantly stay encouraged. You want to keep your spirit lifted, because there are no benefits to focusing on the negative things. as I always say at the beginning of this in each podcast episode, I always say, focus on what is good. I always say that because our thoughts can bring about actions, and our actions can bring about manifestations of what is good or bad. So focus on what is good and make sure you stay in a position of hope and not despair, because being positive and and encouraged and resilient is better than being negative and down and sad and depressed. We don't want to be those things. We want to regulate and manage our emotions so that we can take control of what we need to do, what we need to think, and what we shouldn't do and what we shouldn't think. You have the power to do that. I was saying to a friend of mine a few days ago, some people wake up in the morning and they automatically project to have a bad day. Why would you project that you will have a bad day? Why would you project that? As soon as you wake up in the morning, the first thing you should say is, this is going to be a good day. I don't care about what's going in your life. No matter what is happening, you can tell yourself, this is going to be a good day. Many times in my life, going through painful and serious situations, I had to tell myself, this is going to be a good day. When my mother was in the hospital in 2021, they didn't know if she was going to live or die. I had to keep telling myself, this is going to be a good day and everything is going to be all right. And sadly, yes, my mother did pass away. But in the midst of what I was going through, I kept telling myself, despite all of the sadness, everything is going to be all right. And because I had to make a decision to keep my spirit lifted, everything was all right. Yes, my mother did pass away, but I know in my heart she is with God. But in the process of grieving and in the process of walking through that time, I still had to live and I still had to stay focused. So I kept telling myself, everything is going to be okay. So I'm telling you, no matter what you're going through today, tell yourself every day you wake up, everything is going to be okay. And everything is well and everything is good. Because when you tell yourself that, you are projecting the good to manifest. When you tell yourself that. And when you say it out loud, you are projecting the good to manifest. So make sure you tell yourself and you say it out loud, everything is going to be okay. We have to consistently take control of the day. We don't have to be subject to a feeling. Oh, I have a feeling that it's not going to be a good day. We don't have to be subject to that. Even if you feel like it's not going to be a good day, keep telling yourself, keep meditating and praying that, yes, it's going to be a good day. Tell yourself that. Because everything you go through in your life, it comes to serve you, not be against you. Everything that you go through in your life, it comes to serve you and not be against you. And when you understand the power of showing up and being confident and knowing that there's a lesson in everything that you go through, you will understand that everything you go through is not against you, it's coming to serve you. Because we all have something to learn in the midst of everything that we go through. And so, in the process of going through whatever it is you're going through, you get to decide if you're going to have a mindset of hope or a mindset of despair. You get to decide to accept the thought or reject the thought. Negative or positive, you get to decide. Wake up every day determined, projecting it's a good day. No matter what's going on. Like I said, tell yourself it's a good day. So, on that note, I am going to conclude this episode of Sbfavor Thinking Podcast. And I thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and listen again. I appreciate you so much, listeners. Make sure you share this podcast with others. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you share this podcast with others. And if you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. You can also find me on Facebook. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram. If you need to find me on a specific place or a specific podcast outlet, make sure you Google me. Sbfavor Thinking Podcast on Google. You will find me somewhere. I am on iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I am basically everywhere. And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I cannot forget that. And once again, if you would like to give to the podcast, you can give at Cash App $SBFavor, or you can give at Venmo at Sbfavor. Thank you so much for your support and all that you do. And thank you so much for your feedback. And make sure you have a good day and make sure you project what is good. Talk to you soon.